Hiya everyone, it's Onita here. How are you all going today? And I just want to say one thing to the month of April. Please, please, oh please be kind to me. I have a lot of books that I would like to read, and please do me the honor of being a very good month and letting me read these books that I really desperately want to read. Let us talk about the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of April, because I have quite a few and I'm trying not to stress out. I'm really trying not to. The first one is an anticipated release, and it was coming out on the 5th, but that's the US release date. The UK release date for this book comes out on the 12th of April, and that book is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. She is the author of Station 11, which has been turned into a TV show, and I absolutely loved that book very, very much. The Sea of Tranquility is said to be dual, I believe it's like a dual timeline, interdimensional, sci-fi, time travel-y kind of book. I read an interview with this author that Cloud Atlas was an inspiration for this book, and I tried watching the movie Cloud Atlas and I just couldn't get past the 10-minute mark. I just did not like it at all. Have not read the book by David Mitchell, so I will see, but I have heard it's better though. I've heard it's better than Cloud Atlas, so we shall see about that one. And then I have Binti 2 and 3. Binti 2, which is Binti Home, and Binti 3, which is Binti Night of the Masquerade by Nadia Corafor. I ended up reading this book. When did I read the first one? Is it February? Yes, I read the first one in February and I actually really enjoyed it. It's about this woman named Binti, and she's the first of the Himba people to be accepted into this university called Umza University, which is said to be really prestigious with its sciences and stuff like that. It's like a very prestigious university, and she got accepted into it, much to her family's displeasure. As she is traveling to Umza University, she is caught in the crosshairs between the Meduse, which is this alien race, and the Umza University have wronged the Meduse. Then I have The Final Empire, which is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. So The Final Empire, this is said to be a very, very popular Brandon Sanderson book, and it ties into the Cosmere. I don't know too much about the Cosmere, but it does kind of eventually tie into it, especially with the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive, which is Rhythm of War, I believe it is. In this one, we follow this empire, this kingdom that has been under rule from this evil king, or this evil entity, or whatever, this evil bad person for a couple hundred years or 200 years. It's been under the thumb, under the rule of this really bad guy for a very long time. Kelsia, I believe is his name, recruits this group of people to help him overthrow the kingdom. And here's a Mistborn. Mistborn is when you ingest all the metals and gain all their power, and if you can ingest only just like 1 or 2 metals, I think it's only just like a small amount of metals, then you are a Misterling, I believe. I've heard like different people are trying to explain this book, so I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly. That's just what I heard. It is very hyped, and usually with hyped books I usually give it a little bit, like give it a bit of time before I actually get into it. Now I'm going to be getting into it because I wanted to read Brandon Sanderson last year. Didn't get a chance to. I will be doing it this year though, and I'm excited. I gotta say, I'm truly excited for it. We then have The Poppy War, the first one in the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. I don't know too much about it other than it's hyped and military grimdark fantasy. I heard good things about it, and it does seem actually quite interesting, and it's fantasy. And I'm going to read it this month, hopefully, because R.F. Kuang does have another book which is called Babel. I think it's just a standalone, I believe, and it's like a historical fiction fantasy, I should say, and that one comes out in October, and I really want to read it. So I want to read these books first, which is kind of like her backlog, I guess you could say, before I read the new one that's going to be coming out. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, the first book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. This is a sci-fi, and I don't know too much about it other than it's been on my TBR for a number of years. Around the same time that I've been wanting to read the Binti trilogy, which was when I was a teenager. I think this book really deals a lot with humanity, and it talks about humanity, I should say. Blood Song, which is the first book in the Raven's Shadow trilogy by Anthony Ryan. Again, been on my TBR for a stupidly long time. Been wanting to read it for years. I believe this is military fantasy. It has politics, apparently. It's a fantasy. There's, I think I said it again, but I'll say it again, politics. I think it's more military fantasy and just like adventure or whatever. As you can tell, I know next to nothing about a lot of these books. I then have God's Grave, which is Nevernight Chronicles Book 2. And I'm actually currently reading Nevernight right now. Can you see the book? It's like right around there a little bit. And I should be finished it tomorrow. So we shall see. Follows Mia. She got her first lesson in death when she was 10 years old, and she vows to take vengeance on the people that did her and her family wrong, and this is a continuation of it. I'm hoping that some of the little bits of foreshadowing, the little bits of Easter eggs that we are getting will continue on with this one, because it does seem to be a bit of a, I don't know if political, but there seems to be something about it that it is intriguing. There's something more to it, if you are trying to get what I'm saying. I don't understand what I'm talking about half the time when I'm talking about books. I'm really enjoying it, and I had a quick look. There are footnotes. I'll see if I have time and then I'll read the footnotes, because what I've been doing with Nevernight, because I'm on a very big time crunch right now, that I've just kind of quickly read the footnotes to see if it'd be worth it. If it's not, I won't bother about it and just read like the bits I do think are important. And if they are important, I'll read it. If not, I'll just forget about it. And that's what I've been doing with the footnotes as of late with the Nevernight Chronicles. Even though I usually do read footnotes, like footnotes don't really bother me that much at all. Like, it doesn't separate my enjoyment from the book. Like, it doesn't take me out of the experience, I should say, of reading the book. I then have the special edition of Homebody by Ruby Carr. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, I'm very sorry. This is one of my favorite poetry collections, and the fact that this is a special edition, I couldn't help but not buy it. This is a collection of poetry in the days of the lockdown, like feeling things that people would feel during the lockdown, but this edition has a little extra sugar. See? A little extra sugar for this edition. So I just couldn't help myself, because it is one of my favorite poetry collections. Like, I just loved it so much. I related to so many of the poems in this collection, and this is the first book actually where I have multiple editions. Because I have the first edition, then I have this one, which is a special edition. I never thought of myself as being a person with multiple editions of books, but here we are. And if this is a big if I finish all these books I have mentioned, the 10th book will be A Closed and Common Orbit, book 2 in the Wayfarers Quartet, I believe it is, by Becky Chambers. This one follows a different set of characters, and it's about an AI and the fella, like the man that created this AI, to try and help her be more human. I don't know if this second book will tie in to the rest of the series or even to the first book. I just know I've been wanting to read the series for a long time, and considering I do want to get into sci-fi a bit more, I just feel like because this has been on my TBR for a long time, I would start reading sci-fi with this, even though I have read some sci-fi before. That's the 10 books. Wish me luck. I really do truly hope April is a better month for me in terms of reading. This month will be a test to see if I can fit my time around doing things I want to do. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything that can be crossed is crossed. And thank you very much for watching. Let me know, what are you going to be reading in the month of April? Have you read any of these books? Did you enjoy them? And anyway, thank you very much again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!